that energy, right? Currency is an object of energy that goes through the flow. So when you put your credit card in Amazon and you order socks come right away.
Yeah.
Same thing with faith. It's the same thing. It's just a higher level. It's not on just this pragmatic world. There is actually faith that when I put faith into what I want, it's like putting my credit card onto Amazon. It's going to come to me. And so many people just aren't aware that they're putting faith in what they don't want, and then they're surprised to get what they don't want.
Yeah. I'm going to pull this from your show. Last two questions.
Good. I love that. The setup.
Yeah, let's go. So, it sounds like you're a very busy person, but I've heard some of your podcasts where you talk about being busy versus being productive. Mm-hmm. I would love for you to share your philosophy on that with our audience, because I think so many people think they're busy, where they should be productive.
Right. So, first of all, busy means unavailable. Mm-hmm. So if someone's truly busy, I say they're sleeping. Right? If you sleep 12 hours a day, you are an extremely busy person. Now, most people wouldn't say that. But unavailability and availability, in fact, I key off of sales by first step is to make people available. And the first person to always make available is yourself. In order to do that, you have to have certain systems in place to be more accessible to others and be able to access what you want. So for me, the productivity side is the first step of value, right? What does productivity mean? Providing value, creating value. Accessibility is the second part of it, right? So I actually even divided it like I did earlier. The law of Goya, get off your butt, is productivity, action.
Yeah.
And then what other people call the law of attraction, to me, is accessibility. How am I accessing what I want, and how accessible am I to others? And people that are busy are unaccessible. Well, my primary focus or lens in which I look at time, the 24 hours of man-made constructed time a day, is how available, right? How productive and accessible am I?
Yeah.
And I look at to each thing I'm doing in person, on the phone, via email or media. And I also look at the white space, including sleep. How productive and accessible am I to what I want?
We've been talking a lot about the white space on my podcast. I think it's so important. You said something the other day. By the way, this isn't my last question.
All right.
You talk about ask and attract, and I think that's such a great piece of advice for people. So I'll let that linger out there.
Good.
Ask and attract is so important.
Right, which is so people know, because I think it's so important.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you're asking two questions every day. Mm-hmm. How can I help you? Or just do it. Mm-hmm. And two, do you know anyone that can help me? You've got to ask people that. I told you earlier, most on average, people have at least 1,000 followers. If you just ask one person a day, you increase your network 31,000 people. Never available to you before.
Yeah. Last thing, I end almost every one of my shows, well, literally every one of my business shows, I end with your comments to me about every morning writing down the things that you have more than enough of. And I think that's such a powerful tool, because I've seen that come into effect in my own life in the last year. And it's amazing how much has come into my life from some of those simple practices. Can you expand on that just a little bit?
My favorite thing, right? Because it's perspective-based, that you live the life you think you live. There's three worlds. The first world is one that a lot of people live in, of the world of not enough. It's a victim world where everything happens to you. And I have people, and we have friends in Newport Beach that have $40 million homes that live in a world of not enough. Mm-hmm. Never have enough. Never will have enough. Always living as a victim. No matter how much you truly have, never enough. Then there's a world that I lived in as a young man, which I call the world of just enough. Everything in the world of just enough is for an optimist. It's someone who everything happens for me. Even when things that were challenging, struggles, voids, and obstacles in my life, it was like, this is happening for me. Everything's going to be fine. But there was just enough, because there's just enough of me. And when I shifted the paradigm into what I call being a toptimist, the top of all optimists, except for my papa, who's my grandpa, who's a poptimist, which is a level I haven't reached yet. But the toptimist itself says, there's more than enough of everything for everyone. Yeah. And in order to experience more than enough, everything has to come through me with appreciation, gratitude, and adding value, productivity to it, and then giving it away. Mm-hmm. So when we do that, we understand how our vessel, how our being expands and accelerates. And if we can continue to expand and accelerate, we now can play with time. Because it's just a matter of time and the exponential growth and acceleration that we can expand to such levels of greatness, of such level of abundance, that 100 years from now, people will look back and say, wow, what if we look back 100 years? Would we even think this was possible, probable, or reality? Yeah. And we do that already. Go ahead and look 100 years back at this room and show me one thing that you think might have even been probable, let alone, this stuff behind me and this stuff in front of me, that people would just look at going, you're an alien and we're going to put you to death.
Right.
So live in the world of more than enough, experience more than enough, and put faith in more than enough.
I love that. last thing, you've got a book coming out.
Yeah, awesome. So my next book is called Game Time Decision Making, July 16th. McGraw-Hill published, one of my biggest accomplishments. Really talking, I'm a lessons and storyteller, so it tells the lessons about how to make great decisions, create margin, create happiness by utilizing assumptions and help. And it's a very spiritual and pragmatic book, just like the other one. So please, support me and others by grabbing that book, learning to empower others to be happy through making good decisions.
Well, I want to close in saying this. I think that you add so much value to people's lives. And I say that honestly. And as a client, I receive value there, and I appreciate what I get there. But I feel like I get 5 times that in the stuff that you give away. I mean, between your playbook podcast, the books that you've given away,
and paper shipping
freely out here to this crowd of people that listen to you speak today, and the continuation of that and all the things that you're offering. I've gotten so much more out of all those things. So thank you for who you are, what you're doing. I'm thrilled that you're on the podcast. You've been asking me forever.
Offering. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm so happy that you're on here. I know that my listeners will be happy to hear this interview because I talk about you all the time. So thanks for being on the show today.
Anytime. Thanks for doing it. I'm so proud of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this show as much as I enjoyed taking the interview with David. I probably got one of the best suntans of the season so far, sitting out in front of his place down there in Pacific Beach. But what a wonderful opportunity. David does meetups, and if you follow him on Instagram or some of his social media sites, you'll see where he does meetups. And it's basically just go down and hang out and listen to him talk on different topics and ask all the questions you want and get some good one-on-one time with him if that's something that's appealing to you. I really have never had a life coach, business coach in my entire life. 51 now, had a successful career in many places. And the value that I've been getting from David in this last year has been really unmeasurable because I've gotten so much from him. So whether David's your guy or maybe I can help you out or somebody else out there, I just think there's a tremendous amount of value in reaching out, asking for people for help, and not being afraid to ask for help. So we'll leave it at that. And I would be remiss if I did not close the show with one of the things that David always talks to me about, and he also said it in the interview, was writing down all the things that you have more than enough of and how grateful we can be. And again, from Mark Victor Hansen, what you believe is what you will achieve. And I'm just so thrilled with this interview today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. Again, if you want to find me now, new website, livelifedriven.com. My email's on there. You can see what I'm up to. I'm going to be posting a monthly blog. Depending on my writing skills, I might bump that up to a couple blogs per month. Hopefully they're helpful tips for you to follow. So have a great rest of your week.